Benita is online, right?
I'm online. Radia is on. Wycliffe, and then Balenzi is on as well.
Okay.
Daniel will be joining on shortly, but then the rest are unable to attend today.
Okay. No problem. We will kick it off. I just wanted to introduce the coaches we have for today. So
Okay.
Fred over there, he's muted now. Okay, unmuted, but he's going to walk us through the rules. We met a couple of weeks ago and we said we need to continue the conversation on sales for 5 weeks. So now we have the academy, the platform, we can continue this.
Julius, sorry. The audio is very bad. Is there a way we can ask everybody to mute their audios?
Yes.
Because there's a lot of background noise.
Okay. Let's do that. Actually, that's one of the rules. We will all mute, and you unmute yourself when you're going to speak. So Fred will be unmuted most of the time because he's moderating the class. I just wanted to introduce him. I shared some thoughts around what he will talk about in the email, but he's a very experienced salesperson, as well as an experienced coach and a leadership trainer. He has sold many things. He sells ideas, but he has also sold products. Products like cement, products like fuel, like soft drinks, condoms, the gospel of Jesus Christ. He has sold everything. He's out there to help you learn a few hacks and tricks from his experience. So over to you, Fred. He will be taking us through this class, maybe even the next one, and I will jump in for the other classes. So welcome. I'm going to mute myself, and Fred, you take it away.
All right. Thank you very much, Julius, and glad to meet you all. Bonjour tout le monde.
Bonjour.
How do you say glad to meet you all in French? I'm trying to perfect my French, so it's just my own opportunity here to. So just a quick one. I'll be glad to know who is there. I can see Richard. Richard, I can see your face. Richard, glad to see you. Just tell me a little bit about what you do, just to help me connect with each and every one of you.
Okay, I'm a partner, and I specialize in capital markets and corporate law.
Okay. Good. And who else is there?
Benita, and I do business development.
Okay, good.
Senior associate for banking and finance.
Daniel Gasatura. I have some friends called Gasatura in Rwanda. I have a friend called Gasatura.
That's my cousin.
You know, Philip is your cousin?
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah? Okay,
yeah.
He is my good friend.
Oh, interesting. Small world.
Yes, it is. Okay. So I think one of the ways we could use is there anybody else? Sorry, could I have missed out on somebody? Daniel, you're on mute.
Wycliffe, I think you have to unmute yourself.
Okay, is there anybody I could have missed out? If that's the team, then that's okay. We'll get started. I'll just start by way of introduction. My name is Fred Javira Chaka. If you must forget, you can just call me Javi or Fred. My friends call me Javi, so feel free to call me Javi. And I'm glad to meet all of you. I love sales, and I am a firm believer that everybody can sell and everybody is a salesperson, one way or the other. So none of you can tell me you haven't sold. And if you think you haven't sold, believe you me, I'll show you you have sold, and hopefully we can, stay forward and make a very huge difference in our different spheres. May I request that we start by briefly watching, or maybe just to tell you a little bit about myself. Like Julia said, I have sold so many things. I sell ideas. I have sold. I worked with Hima Cement, and I used to come over to Kigali quite a bit selling cement. I worked with Coca-Cola for a number of years. I worked with Vivo Energy, Shell. I sold fuel. I've sold condoms and many other health products to save lives. So let's just start, because I know we don't have too much time. May I request that we start by watching the video from Eddie Kawera? It's a very small clip, 10 minutes. Have you watched it? Have you all watched it? Or can we have a moment to watch it?
I think we should.
Yes, Wycliffe?
I think we should.
Okay, good. So do you want me to give you a few minutes as we watch the video?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm on the line. Let me see in the meantime if this can connect onto my laptop. Do you have the video there?
No, I still have your face.
Sorry?
I can still see your face.
You can still see my face. Okay, let me just I don't know how to do it. I don't know if when I step out you'll be able to watch the video. The video was sent by Robert on the link.
Oh.
Fred, let me play it before I exit.
Okay, not a problem.
All right.
I'm not able to see the video. Robert might want to share a screen and then you play it. If not, perhaps we can just leave it out if it's not working. No.
There's
Can't
no
hear
sound.
Yeah, no sound, and it's streaming slow.
Yes.
Can we continue without it?
Sorry?
Fred, it might be very difficult to share the video through this system.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I think we'll just go on.
Yeah. You can watch it after.
That's right. Okay, team, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
Julius, you wanted to step in, or you're stepping out?
No, I was just saying we can just go on with the conversation, and people can bring some of the questions they have on
Okay.
sales, because we
Absolutely.
don't have the video playing.
No, that's fine. Team, I'm just curious to know. Are we together? All right, dear team in Kigali, I just want us to have a conversation really for the next couple of minutes about sales. And I'd be curious to know, what is it that interests you in sales? And what were your expectations as you're coming over this afternoon? Sure, you could have been somewhere enjoying bruschetta on a Friday afternoon. Huh? What is it that brings you, that you'd like to learn about sales? Wycliffe, Benita, Daniel?
Personally, I think I would love to know how to engage with people on a personal basis, but also on a business platform.
Sorry, sorry, Wycliffe. Maybe if somebody else is not talking, may I request them to mute?
Julius. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'd said I would like to learn or even improve my skills of dealing with people on the personal level, but also on a business platform, and how to bring them on board in terms of selling to them what products I have. And by products, I mean the services specifically in the company.
Right. Okay. And today, if I asked you, Wycliffe, how do you rate your selling skills on a scale of 1 to 10, where one is not a very good one, but 10 is a super salesman? How would you rate yourself?
Am I allowed to tell it, right?
Sorry?
I would go for a 4.
You'd go for a 4.
Yeah.
Okay, we will come back to that. We will come back to that, Wycliffe. Can I hear from the rest?
I guess the reason for me is to be able to generate more business for the farm.
Okay.
Because initially it used to be that the partners were responsible for bringing in business, but now we all have it. So I want to learn how to do it more efficiently and effectively.
Right. And Daniel, how do you rate yourself, your selling skills?
I would give myself maybe a 5 or 6. I think I can talk to people, but it's hard for me to push for something I believe I must earn. If someone pushes back, I'll just relent. I find it hard to confront. And
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, if I may just stick to that a little bit. When you say sometimes you struggle, you can communicate with confidence, but when they push back, you relent. I just want to know a little more. What causes that?
Just fear, maybe.
Fear?
Yeah. I mean, That's the best. I'm not good at confrontation, so usually I'll walk away if it's a fight. So the same applies to, I guess, selling. If someone is giving me a bad deal, it's still at some point I take it like at least I've got something.
Yes.
It's hard for me even when I know I'm worth more than this or we are worth more than this to insist on what we are worth.
Okay.
The skill to actually be confident enough to get what we ought to get.
Let me, if I could ask you a question, and Daniel, I'm sticking with you here for a moment, but I think the lessons that we pick out of this serve everybody. It's not just for you. If you say, you know, if somebody is not interested, you would, rather than push, you'd walk away. What is it that what is it that you think would cause somebody not to accept your idea?
I guess part of it is what's the word? The aggressiveness. I lack the aggressiveness that someone who is going to sell something big needs to, you know, to convince you and to stick. I just like that aggressiveness is what I would say.
Okay. Aggression, you think, is what would help you out. If I came to say to you something, hello? You are quick to mute your phone.
Well, I'm using temporary unmute, so okay. But I guess I can unmute.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay. All right. We will come back to that, and just to see if there is anything else you have got within you, or you think you could probably leverage to help you actually be able to get, other than aggression. Could I hear from somebody?
Again?
Apart from aggression.
You can hear from Angel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we will see if Angel would like a very aggressive man. If the man came to you to try and propose to you and he's aggressive, would that work for you?
It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. They're both aggressive.
Okay. Well, that is what you think you need. All right. Angel, could I hear from you? What brings you here today?
Well,
and how would you want me to add value to you?
First of all, before we even get to the point where we get aggressive, how do I even start the conversation about someone becoming our firm's client? The approach, in other words, and how do I actually know that this is the right person to approach?
Okay.
Yeah, I think because most of the clients, the potential clients, usually have other firms or other lawyers that assist them. So what do I do?
Okay. And how would you rate your selling skills, Angel?
Honestly, I think I'd go for a 4.
You'd go for a 4.
Yeah.
And what do you think you need to help you become even better? What do you think you would need for you to become even a better salesperson than you are?
I think the training you're going to give us.
Okay.
Because if I knew what would help me, I'd probably not be here. So, yeah.
Well, somebody can say we always have an opportunity to learn. It doesn't matter how good we are. We always have an opportunity to learn and improve something. Okay.
That's true.
I would love to hear from everybody, if you don't mind. Because this helps me speak into, or help us speak into, part of what we're looking for.
I guess for me, it's a bit similar to what the have already communicated. How to convert. One of the things I would like to do is how to convert an acquaintance or a connection into a paying client. Yeah, and also just how to know which kind of situations to. Or sometimes you're having a social conversation with someone, and you want to tilt it towards business, and sometimes I'm not really conversant with how to go about that.
Okay.
Without seeming manipulative or just inappropriate.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, you people, okay, I think there is Benita there. Is Benita there? I'd love to. How do you rate yourself, by the way, Richard?
I would go for about 5.
You'd go for 5. Okay, good. Benita?
Yes. I guess I would like to learn how to maintain the relationships. Yeah.
That's critical. That's very important. Let me ask a question, Benita. And you mentioned something very important here when you talk about maintain relationships. What do relationships have to do with sales?
Well, they have everything to do with sales because, you know, for a client to come back again or to even recommend you, depending on how you maintain that relationship, it can bring more growth or, I guess, more clients. Hello?
Hello? Sorry, I lost you there for a moment.
Yeah, I was saying that maintaining relationships is crucial in sales because this will determine whether you'll get maybe more clients in terms of us as a law firm, and if you're going to be recommended, and if your client is satisfied in order to be able to come back again. So how do you maintain that, and how do you ensure that they're going to stay or recommend you?
Right. Now, I'll tell you, you didn't watch the video. None of you watched the video, but in the video, one of the first things that Eddie talks about the need for you to love, and it's one of the things he brings up first. Can somebody please mute your... Somebody needs... Benita is muted. I don't know who else needs to mute. Okay, so what's his name? Eddie does talk about love, and one of the first things he says you need to do is to love, and he says from a business sales perspective, you need to love the other person, and you need to establish relationships. And I like what Benita has just talked about here, where it's all about relationships. And I like to use the example of relationships. I don't know how many of you are relating, married or in a relationship or dating. And this is why I asked when Daniel, I think, talked about he needs aggressiveness. And I said, I'm not too sure if aggressiveness is what we need. But when you are going into a relationship, what is it that matters most? What is important? Let me hear from the men here. Richard and Daniel. Because the principles are exactly the same for sales. I don't know if you have successfully sold yourself to any lady or not.
I said this way.
I can see Daniel laughing.
If you make her feel sorry for you, sometimes it works.
Okay. If you persist. I'll share with you my personal experience. Just give me a second, good people. Just give me a second. I need to close the door here. Sorry, I was getting some interruption and I needed to close the door. I'll tell you why I talk about love and relationships, and that's something that Eddie talks about. And from my experience, I have been married for a few years now. I've been married for about 13 years, and I dated a few years before that, as I, just after my girl, who turned out to be my wife of 13 years today. But this is my learning about love and relationships. I find that when you are pursuing a lady, and you can confirm to me, suddenly what you have doesn't matter a lot. Everything is about that person. Everything is about what does that lady want. Those of you who don't go to church suddenly go to church and to attend the service she attends, all because you are trying to get close to her. You are looking out for where does this person go? If she's somebody who goes to the bar, which bar does she go to? If it's about her friends and she's still being difficult, you're like, who is her friend? Angel is her friend. And suddenly, if Angel is your friend and you're going to Angel and you're like, man, Angel, I want to get to Benita. How do I get to Benita? And Angel gives you a few tips. And suddenly, you find that you are gearing and aligning yourself, not so much about yourself, but it's really trying to align yourself to that person. And that is the trick. Suddenly she sees you, and it's not so much about your aggression, but it's really around how you are saying all the right things. And they tell her, Angel, oh, Benita, man, run away from Richard. Richard is wrong. And she said, no, he's a good guy. You guys don't understand him. Richard says all the nice things. But how does Richard get to know the right things? Richard realizes that it is about that person. It is about that person. Where does that person go? And he has learned her language. He knows what is important to her. And that is how he aligns himself. In the corporate world, I have seen people who are looking for business, traders. They'll say, where does that person go? They go to this charity. They donate to the charity. They go to your same Rotary Club. They're looking for you. Question to you people, if love and relationships are important and they work in selling, how much time do we invest in our law firm here to understand the people we're trying to target? To understand where they go, to understand their needs. Can somebody share with me? I just want to hear from you. How do you think we do in investing time to relate, to understand the different people?
Can you please come again?
My question is, how much time do we spend at our law firm trying to understand the people we are trying to woo? Because a sales process is like a relationship process. You know what you have, you think the other lady will want to have what you have, but all you do is, it is not about you. You take all your time to try and understand her, understand where she goes, and understand where she needs. And so I am asking you, at our law firm today, how much time do we spend in trying to woo, understand the needs, wants, the desires of our prospective clients?
Well, to be honest, Fred, I'm saying this in the context of, let's say, someone meeting for the first time.
Sorry?
Normally there is always the need to know more about this person and get to know how to bring them on board. The problem is usually people are not all that open on first off is, and the best way to know things about someone is by asking questions. But sometimes you withhold the questions because you do not want to make the person feel like you're taking a step into somewhere they don't want you to go. So personally, usually I'm very cautious on what I ask and what I say to people, to the extent that sometimes I end up saying nothing or little.
Mm. Okay. Okay. How about the other people? How much time do you think we invest?
I think we invest a considerable amount of time, but maybe it's not sufficient. It could be more. And what I mean is normally before, okay, if let's say a prospective client contacts us, we will asking some queries. If we have a lot of time in advance of meeting them, we may probably Google them and try to find out more about what they do, so that even when they come to ask us questions, we have an idea of who they are and what makes them tick. In some cases, I don't think we do that, at least personally, I'm talking for a personal experience. I don't think I do that all the time. Sometimes I may have little time between when I've had the first contact and then the initial meeting, so I may not really prioritize getting to do some research about them. Or it may also be the case that I may be having a lot of other things on my plate, and then I may just not focus so much on trying to get them to know them before. But then in some cases, if it's a client who I want to pitch to and I've identified, then I'll probably try to do some research about them and make inquiries around before making the initial pitch. But generally speaking, I would say that I think as a firm, we do make some effort to get to know our clients, and some of it is by investing in knowing, even just in knowing what is taking place around us, like reading newspapers or just keeping up with what is happening in the country or in the region, which makes us aware of what kind of businesses are growing and upcoming and needs legal services before we can. So that's just, to me, that's just doing the homework before you even start initiating conversations or before even clients are approaching.
Right. And I'll tell you something, Richard. What you mentioned is very critical. My experience from a sales perspective has been that it's twofold, and the preparation, which is about getting to know what Richard is all about, what his firm is all about, is half the work, and it is a lot more difficult, but yet it's also one of the most important, where I'm spending about, say, 70 or 60% of the time trying to understand, what does Richard's firm want? Okay? Two, what do I have? Okay, and maybe it starts from what do I have? What do I have as Fred? This is what I have. This is the skills, this is the value that I have with me. What does Richard's firm want? This is what Richard's firm needs. A, B, C, D. Do they know they want that? Because sometimes you have something of value, and I have found that sometimes you have something of value and the other people don't know the value that you have. And I try to ascertain that. The other question also is, who else is reaching out to Richard? Now, I can tell you from my experience, and I'm sure it's not any different from yours, when I dated and I was chasing after, you know, my lady, I wasn't the only one chasing after her. There were other people who were chasing. But the question is, what is it that they have that I don't have? What is it that I have? Sometimes we forget that the Richard you're trying to reach out to is the same Richard who somebody else is talking to. There's somebody else who is reaching out and actually meeting their need, or there's somebody who's not meeting their need. So my bigger question is really around, who is Richard? What does Richard want? Where does Richard go? If Richard is a Rotarian, can I have made business by simply going to go and make free presentations at Rotary clubs. The pro bono work I have done has earned me more business sometimes than the work I have done. But you see, sometimes the pro bono work is very targeted. Huh? You know where to go. You know where your target clientele is. And somebody asks for your card. So some people give you business cards and you don't know where you threw them. But there's some business cards which you never want to lose. Does that happen to you?
Yes.
So it happens a lot. So this is why I'm asking you how much time, and this is an extremely critical question. Because relationships are extremely important, like Benita said, but relationships take time to build. But relationships that tend to last tend to be those relationships that are built on you understanding the other person's need and being able to meet it. I'll give you my personal story. There's a time I was working with Coca-Cola for a number of years. And there was this restaurant chain which I wanted to win over. But it was locked up in an agreement with Pepsi. And I wanted the sales so much. But they just wouldn't. They told me we have a contract with Pepsi. But I knew Pepsi's problem was they are not good at honoring their commitments. So I just went over and I kept having my meals at this restaurant. And every time I was there, I always asked for a Coke. And I made sure they had to go to the nearby supermarket to buy me a Coke because they never sold Coke. Eventually, the restaurant owner told me, okay, Fred, Pepsi has promised me this and this and this, and they haven't delivered them. Can you give those things to me? And I told them, look, that I can give you, that I can give you, the other things I cannot give you. I don't want to promise you what I cannot deliver. Now, I knew by simply saying that, I was speaking to something that Pepsi was not meeting. Pepsi was promising them, but Pepsi was not meeting. It was over-promising and under-delivering. So that helped me build credibility, and I understood exactly what they needed. And when I got on board, I can tell you I left Coca-Cola 3 years ago, but Coke is still in that place. And it just takes you understanding and not over-promising, but realizing that it is about the other person. What does the other person want? And like girlfriends and boyfriends, when Benita says no, it doesn't mean that you cannot get Benita. It simply means that maybe you have to go back and reposition yourself. You might know Richard is a fake guy, but it's not for you to say Richard is a fake guy. Just stay around. Offer free service. Sometimes she begins to notice the difference between you and the other person. And before long, she is giving you a chance. So my question to you is, what do you think you can do better? What do you think you can do better to help you understand your clients better? Because understanding your clients and building relationships is one of the most important things. What do you think you need to do? Start doing. If you think about all your actions.
Does that mean does that apply to new potential clients that you meet at an event? Because you actually don't have time to understand them, but then you have to pitch the firm.
That too. It happens. You see, what I find is if you went to an event, a cocktail, met a Julius that you wanted to reach out to, sometimes the most important thing is understanding what are you good at? Are you able to articulate in a very brief statement, this is who we are, if you need this and this and this, talk to me. And if somebody asks you, I'd love to know more about this, sometimes it is an issue of, can I come? Do you have a moment? Can I come? And you know, at our law firm, we don't want to just sell what we do, we want to meet your needs. It's not about what we do. It is about your needs. So if you don't mind, I could come over and we have, if you don't mind giving me an appointment, I'd love to come over and understand what your needs are, and I share with you what value we can add to you. You understand? So, but you need to be able to, if I gave you only 1 minute or 30 seconds, can you tell me what your firm stands for? Can you give it to me? What is your value proposition?
Well, I've had so many people talk about, say that phrase, but then it's something that I actually need to think about. I think I need to sit down, write my response to that, cram it, and just think it every time I have to.
Let me ask you, do we have a value proposition as a firm? We say, this is who we are and this is what we stand for. This is what we bring to the table. You have that?
Yes.
What is that? Do you mind sharing with me?
Would integrity count? Because we actually have 4 things we stand for. I don't know if.
Okay, now those are core values, and many people will talk about the same core values. I'm not talking about the core values here. I'm talking about what does your firm offer? Why should I change from Daniel Gasatura and Partners and come to your firm?
Because our firm has some of the best lawyers in town, and it has actually not best, competent lawyers. It also has a friendly environment for clients. Yeah, and experience. And also it happens to have lawyers that, I don't know if this would count, but the lawyers that maybe are part of different bar associations and leading, for example, Richard Mujisha being the president of the East African Law Society, that would count for competence and trustworthy.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you can tell I'm just speaking pieces. What's happening?
So let us continue.
Benita.
We need to know, Benita, business development. Before he comes back online, we need to know what our thingy is. So what is it?
Guys, haven't you read on the website? We're a leading corporate and commercial law firm. Angel, you're talking about core values.
Listen, but every law firm has that on their profile.
Exactly. But then if you were to sell yourself and you say, oh, what is Trust Law Chambers? You would say we're a friendly law firm. Bring your work, we're friendly. What does friendship have to do with this?
Benita, can you answer Andrew's question?
I said we're leading corporate and commercial.
No,
I'm sorry?
every firm says that, Benita. You need something different.
Okay, then maybe you can give examples of, this is how I would do it. Obviously, I'm also training, but what about talking about like the deals that we've done? Highlighting those deals like Bugesera Airport, which is groundbreaking, these hydropower plants, like what makes us stand out? Why are we leading, you know?
Honey, you have only 1 minute. You're going to list Bugesera and hydro and mining.
Dude, 1 minute has 60 seconds. You can say it. We'll practice.
I like that.
Oh,
Hello,
sorry.
team.
Oh, never mind. Angel was talking. Angel, where are you?
Okay.
We can see you, Fred.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, sorry, I was in the call on my phone and my phone blacked out. So my apologies about that. So I just wanted to ask you a question. You were telling me you are an experienced firm. You have Richard is the president of East African Law Society. You have experienced lawyers. How does that help me? Are you the only people with experienced lawyers? Are you the only people with competent lawyers?
Oh, I'm supposed to answer that, or everyone is supposed to?
Yeah, I was talking to you, Angel. You were telling me, you know, I was asking you, why should I come over to you? And you were telling me you have competent lawyers, you have, you know, this. So the question was, are you the only ones who have that?
Well, no, but I think I need to take a call from a client.
Sorry?
I'll be back.
Okay, somebody else can step in. It's a question for all of us. Why should I leave my farm? Why should I leave my farm to come to yours?
Because we've worked on some of the groundbreaking deals in Rwanda, such as the convention center, which is one of the biggest conference in Africa. And then we are currently working on like, you know, leading deals like the Bugesera Airport, which is going to be the biggest airport in Rwanda. And we've advised on different groundbreaking deals. So we have a lot of experience, and our lawyers are highly qualified. As they said, our senior partner is the president of the East African Law Society, and then, you know, they each have like really great experience. So then would it be right to highlight the big deals that we're working on to attract a different person to come to a law firm? Would that be the right way to address it?
Okay. When you tell me your big achievements and the big things you have done, what does that do for us in this relationship? What does that do for me?
It shows you that we're competent.
So if I'm not a very big client, might that be a reason for me to run away from you? Because I think you are too big for.
So obviously, I would think before I tell you that, I would have an idea of, you know, we would have talked for 5 minutes, and I know what kind of lawyers you're looking for. And then depending on that, then I can say, oh, you know, whatever matter it would be, then highlight and try to connect with you from where you are, at the level you're at. You know, but if you're a big corporate person, then we can also bring in like the big names and all that, depending on what angle you would be coming from.
I find that there's a place and space for that. There's a place and space to share the big achievements and the big clients. And what that does mainly, normally for you, is it builds your credibility. That shows this is what you are. These are credible people. You're the ones who did work for those guys. Okay, interesting. I would love to hear from you. That is very good, but that's just part of the story. I have seen big clients, big lawyers in town who we know have gotten deals, but some of them have gotten deals because of connections. Some of them have gotten deals because they've cut, bribes somewhere and something like that. So that is not always per se, it is important, but it's not necessarily most important. Some of these clients become too big that when I want a personal relationship, which is normally very important, I don't get it. You're the lawyers who tend to talk about customer and client. What's the difference between a customer and a client?
Customer and a client.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a client is a client returns. So you've already formed a relationship and they're your client. But a customer, I feel like it could be their first time walking in to us. That would be a customer. I don't know. This is a wild guess.
Okay.
I see it the other way around. I'm thinking about it in the other sense. I think a client is one that you've engaged with for the first time, who may or may not come back, but I think a customer is one that you've established a relationship with. Let's say that if they have a certain matter within your competence, you're the person they will always run to.
Okay. I'll tell you why I ask this question. I find that from a sales perspective, most people, when they go to sell, they sell their products, they sell what they are good at, they sell their stuff, but they don't necessarily try and connect to the needs of the other person. You get what I'm saying? We are a big client, we are a big law firm, we are this and this. Fantastic, so what? You guys maybe are too big to care. On the other hand, it might be we are too big, we are big enough to bring you all the expertise and technical, we are big enough to bring you technical expertise, but we are small enough to care. You understand? Because sometimes when law firms are good, I find that when law firms are good, sometimes small, they care a lot because they're trying to win a lot of business. You understand? They will do everything to get in business. And so they will check on you, they will care for you, and you will feel the love. But as with any business, sometimes when they become too big, then you become one of the numbers out there. You don't matter that much. So if I'm looking for a law firm, experience is not enough. It is good, but it is not enough. You understand? Your technical experience, because believe you me, the law is the same, and I could get other lawyers who are probably as good as you, who have the same experience as you do. But if you can assure me that, you know what, we are big and we bring a lot of expertise, but we also are strong on relationships, and that is what drives us, I am going to listen to that. You understand? And this is why I was asking you, when you come to me, what is it that you are selling to me? Friends, if we have to go out there and sell, we need to remember the most important thing is not us. The most important thing is not our firm. The most important thing is the client, okay? And that is one big lesson I find, in which case it is okay for me not to get you today. It might be okay. Richard, I come and listen to you and say, Richard, I understand your needs, but I think I'm not the best positioned person to help you out. I can recommend this law firm, these other people, they will address you. Believe you me, the day you do that, you have shown me you're not just hungry for money, but you care for me. And because sales are about a long-term process, I find that when you do that, it ultimately comes out. So who is it that you want to target? Speak to them. Go, like I say, is it golf? Is it tennis that they like playing? Is it, what is it that they like doing? If they like Arsenal, I'm an Arsenal supporter and I see it has Visit Rwanda. So I'm an Arsenal supporter. If sometimes it just might take something as small as where do they go, and you going there, but you're putting on an Arsenal jersey, and that could be a connection moment that just allows you to speak and speak into each other. So friends, I don't know how much time we have for the session today. I can talk about so many different things, but for me, the starting point that I share with everybody, I find that salespeople sometimes don't care enough to pursue and understand who influences the other person. What does Fred want? What is Fred not getting from where he is? Where does Fred go? But the other was the question that I asked you, where I asked you, why should I leave? And many people I find that end up telling me what they have and what they can do. It is normally a trick question. When I ask you that, you need to craft what you do in my language that addresses my need. Like I shared with you, we are big enough to bring a lot of experience that we have used here, but we are also small enough not to lose relationships. If you can do that, that would be great. The final thing, the other thing that I'll just talk about here for now is some of you have dated, you have chased a girl. I like using relationships because we've all gone through. We've either been chased or we have chased as adults. And we have either been rejected or we have succeeded, or we have accepted people. The principles tend to remain the same. Among the ladies here, are the ladies there? Is there anybody who is dating or who is married?
Only Angel.
Who?
Angel is the only one dating, and then Richard is married.
Okay, you are dating.
No, Angel. The other girl.
Angel is dating. Okay, and she's quiet. Angel, yeah. Are you there?
Benita already has a wedding planned, except for the husband.
Who?
Benita.
Benita. Okay, that's very great. Now, if you are the kind who is going to go to Benita, what is it that you're going to take onto the table? But we can joke about this, but friends, the same way you get hurt when you go and ask in a relationship and the lady refuses. It's typically the same way you feel, because business is about money. It's about sustainability of our organization. And I just want to encourage you, all of you, you rated yourselves. You rated yourselves, and I just want to challenge you. Go back. The homework I want to leave with you is you rated yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. I want to ask you, if you knew your prospects very well, understood what their needs are, and went out and actually pursued them, not selling just what you have, but positioning what you have in line with their needs, how much do you think your rating would change? And as you get off the call, I want to encourage you, friends, to go and work as a team, write the list of your prospects, And I want to encourage you to ask this question: how well do we know their needs? What have we done? The Coca-Cola model is called collaborating for value. Are you hearing me? Well, collaborating. What do you understand by collaborating? What does collaborating mean?
Working together.
Working together.
Partnership.
Partnership. When I say collaborating for value, what do I mean? What comes to your mind?
Say what?
When I say collaborating for value, what comes to your mind? Yes, Richard. I think you're muted. You're muted.
He keeps muting and muting.
A mutually beneficial relationship.
Okay. I want to challenge you, friends, and I want you, please go onto Google and type in collaborating for value, okay? And search about collaborating for value. And so ask yourself, what value do you have? What value does the other person have? How can you bring? And I want you to look at their value beyond their money in the pockets, okay? But what value do you have defined from their angle? And if we can do that, I can bet you we are going to be one step into the process. Now, like I said, preparation and getting to know them is very important. I want to challenge you to step back and rate yourself in that regard. And at our next call, I want us to see how we take that on to the next level, because I was told we have about 1 hour. Hello, are you there? Hello?